So, Davey, how's that new Celsius flavor?
We're gonna. So I did try a new flavor recently.
Hmm.
I had tried. I forget what it's called. I'm not gonna go and get it because I have 2 cans of it in the house. But it's basically like orange creamsicle flavor. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. It is really good.
Yeah. Uh huh. It's delightful actually.
Yeah.
Looked all over Daytona for it. Couldn't find it.
Oh, really?
Would have loved to have some.
But you saw pictures of it online, right?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Cool.
I hate this bit.
I heard about it. I certainly heard about it.
At USORL_racing on Twitter.
Yeah.
Christ.
What?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the Celsius is good. If
Celsius is
ever
good.
if Celsius ever sponsored this podcast and or me, I'd be a happy boy.
I enjoy Celsius.
I would gladly make 12 Instagram posts a week with me holding a can of Celsius. I totally would.
Here's my can of Celsius.
Basically, do I have a can nearby? I don't. But
It's supposed to go like this, and I did this.
Close
but
enough.
I have colleague-related merch where I got like cans of Celsius for free at the shop.
Mhm.
So
Oh, nice.
I always thought that Circle and that Celsius were like competitors.
apparently not, because
Circle, yeah, because Circle's like water. It's like water
Yeah,
flavor.
it's like
stuff.
a flavored water. It's quite good. Pretty
Mhm.
good. It's yummy.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm glad I'm getting a haircut tomorrow because this mane is. You can't
Like-
see back here, but it's long.
Well, you gotta do
This
what,
is all.
what we do and wear hats.
I really,
Keep
I
some
was
of the flow
kicking myself that I didn't buy a hat at any of the merch haulers this
wait.
weekend.
Did you see a good one?
I did, but I like
Nice.
the last few years I've designated myself as not a hat person
Mm-hmm.
because I've been like taking pride in my hair, which I needed to do.
Yeah.
But now it's like I can wear hats and be okay with it. Like I don't need to show my hair off all the time.
Mm.
Not that I'm showing my hair off, but like I
Right, you
spend
wanna
time
put-
on my
like, you
hair and I make
put-
it look good. I put
you-
time and effort into it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I had to
There
put a
you
hat on. But now I want to wear hats sometimes, and I need a good hat.
This hat doesn't keep the flow in place as much, but
Mm.
I had to wear it because I wore it to Supercross on Saturday, so
Oh, that
it's
rocks.
fitting.
That
Oh, yeah, how
rocks.
was that? Because that was Anaheim, right?
Oakland.
Oh, sorry.
It
yeah.
was
Same thing.
it was an absolute blast. The races were great. The star of the show was my older brother. So my older brother, when he gets drunk, he doesn't get like sloppy or aggressive. He just gets funnier. If anything, he's probably more coordinated. And so for reference, we drove to Berkeley and then took the BART's train directly to the Coliseum. And my brother was drunk before we even got on the train. And for my punk rock fans out there, if you've ever heard of the band Rancid before, they're from the Bay Area. And we're just walking around Berkeley looking for something to eat. My brother's just like rewriting their songs to be about whatever street we're on and what we're doing. Just like loudly singing. And then we're on the train and we're all like standing in the middle because all the seats are taken, and he's holding on to the 2 handles and doing like the gymnast backflips on it like they do on the ring routine, like in the middle of a moving train.
Oh
And then
my
like every
God.
time the train stops and starts, he takes his feet off the ground and then swings and like kicks my roommate. Just like stuff like that. And then we're on our way out after the races, and like you cross a pedestrian bridge to get over to the BART station, and there's like a staircase and an escalator and like a big 2-foot wide metal divider, and my brother just penguin slides on his chest down the divider, like crowds of people everywhere just walking downstairs, and my brother's just bombing
That
this hill head
rocks.
first.
That right, bro. He's in his own personal episode of Jackass.
Oh,
like, in his head.
When we were in the station in Berkeley waiting to catch our train, there were pigeons down in there, and he was trying to catch the pigeons like on the train
Dude.
station.
My
Dude.
goodness.
It was so out of control. Oh my god.
Oh,
It was a
good.
blast though. Race was fun. Chase Sexton choked another race away like we all predicted. So
Yeah,
was a
all
good
of
time.
us.
All one of us.
time is a flat circle. So that's all I have to say.
I'll get to my race day experience when we get to the Xfinity race, I'm sure.
Yeah. I got to call 766 miles of racing on Saturday.
Oh my god.
Proud of you.
Are you?
Yeah, you make some money though. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm tired though. I'm worn down. We'll talk about we all raced Friday night. I had a broadcast Thursday night. then the 2 on Saturday, then we had 1 Sunday, we had 1 Monday, had 1
Oh my
tonight, which we're doing this podcast after because the boys support my broadcasting and they're willing
Yeah.
to do these late, despite being really tired because we all had long weekends, and yeah, fun. Broadcasting's
fun
fun.
times.
Check out at Johto Network.
Busy Daytona weekend for all.
Daytona was fun. You want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's rip it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ripped open a Harley J. Earl trophy with a victory in what was
Apparently he did.
the. I don't know what to feel about this Daytona 500.
There's a lot. I have a lot of mixed feelings about the racing. There's a lot of talk about the coverage, and we'll get to that. It was like it didn't feel special.
Yeah.
It felt like a race.
Yeah.
Like it felt like we're back racing, and everyone was like, "Yeah."
Is that so? I don't want to jump ahead here, but maybe this seems like the more natural place to do it. But Fox and their promotion,
Yeah.
they promoted the heck out of the Clash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? They pushed that thing. Big event, NASCAR Clash the Coliseum, blah. We're racing in the historic LA Coliseum, blah. And then the Daytona 500 ads were like, it's the Daytona 500. The most prestigious race in stock car racing.
Yeah.
The Daytona 500 on Fox.
It's like they made the ads thinking that it would carry as much weight. Sorry, NASCAR fans, and I'm one of them. It carry as much weight as like the Indy 500. And it doesn't.
Nope.
Truthfully. As cool as it is, as special as it is, the Daytona 500 is still a special event. It can't carry itself the way Indy does.
It can't. Well, and Indy's able to carry itself because of the buildup it has.
Yes.
Month of May is a thing. It is a real thing.
Albeit it surely isn't the month of May as it once was decades ago, but we'll never get back to that anyway. So
right. But even
it doesn't help that Speed Weeks is a shell of itself too, though. It was a few days.
Speed days.
Yeah. Speed Thursday.
I like how they still, when they started the qualifying and then they did the duels, Advent Health Speed Week. Like, it ain't even a week.
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, and, that's part of building an event, and we know some good promoters in the sim racing world. Part of building an event is having good promotion, and the best promotion is actually stuff relating to the event that you can show live on TV. Mm-hmm. Daytona 500 qualifying, I know we came on here, we did our show, and we, that's fun, that's our little thing, but it meant a lot more when the Daytona 500 front row had a whole week to go around and do media. Hey, I'm the pole sitter for the Daytona 500. This is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We all know it's a big deal as fans. We know winning the race is a big deal. We know starting on the front row is a big. We all know that. We all know. But for an average fan, oh look, this race car driver's on this talk show, and they're saying it's a big deal that they won the pole for this race. Well, what if they won the race itself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I money sucks. That's the root of this problem. It's money,
and it's understandable, right? Like it's understandable that the teams show up on Tuesday, Wednesday. Like that makes sense financially, and like no one really questions it. There are some questions about should there have been practice. That's a whole different discussion. But the fact of the matter is, like, no one questions why they're showing up on Tuesday. But it really does kill the show, so to speak. It doesn't allow time for momentum to build for the race to be as big as it should be or feel as big as it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We just they're in Daytona, and I mean, and again, this is a sign of the times. This is just NASCAR changing, and like the best thing I can liken this to is your average race 5 years ago, where the team showed up in the middle of the week and they ran practice and they qualified, and like it felt like the average race weekend of 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what's killing it for me. Maybe that's why I can't get that same feeling that I've had about the Daytona 500 various other years of my life. But there was something missing.
You
in
could
my
even
opinion.
feel that in Stenhouse's interview. He seemed relieved more than anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I obviously they've been celebrating their win and all that. But you think about all these Daytona 500 winning celebrations. Michael McDowell 2 years ago was a more energetic interview. Obviously 2020 happens, throw that one out the window. Denny winning his first one, or Junior winning, or just all these race winning moments in these interviews, and even now those feel a little subdued. And people are going to argue the front stretch interviews the problem with that specifically. I don't think so. I
have a lot of problems with the front stretch interview. That's not one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if that's the sole contributing factor, but it's not a good thing.
I mean, Ricky's crew was right there with him. Like, if you want to say that it's because his crew ain't there, well, that's not the reason then. Yeah. So, I don't know. Is plate racing tiresome for the drivers? Probably.
I think the fact there's so much overtime too probably was why it seemed more like a relief to him. But
yeah. I don't know. I feel like the promotion of the event wasn't all that great this year. I don't know if TV numbers have come out yet. I think when we look at TV numbers, that'll be a better indicator. We're talking about TV, so let's just talk about it now. Commercials. A lot of complaints about commercials. We only, through the first 100 laps, we had only seen 30-something of green flag. We'd only seen 30-something laps. Want to at least bring up the point. People are like, oh, well, that Fox has to pay their bills. Fox has to pay their bills. Yes, they do. Part of putting all those commercials early on in the race is so they don't have to go away in the last 40 laps, because they know that's a good window when people tune back in. That's why the first 10 laps is always green flag in a race. And it's always covered. Because people tune in for the first 10, they tune in for the last 10. Most of the time. You're, again, average viewer.
Yeah. I don't know why it did feel so much worse, but there's been multiple people on Twitter who have grabbed data, and it has not supported that it was worse, but it really did feel worse. I don't know why that is.
Repetitiveness, maybe, of advertisements.
Well, maybe.
So what I was saying is,
yeah.
I can't remember if I posted this in the USRL server or not, but to me it felt like, because there wasn't as many commercials, but there were so many sponsored segments throughout the race, to where it constantly felt like your attention was being pulled away from the race, and it never felt like the booth could kind of get into a rhythm and kind of build towards something, because it was like every couple laps you do something, they'd be like, all right, now let's go check out what Wendy's is doing with their car running 28th.
Yeah.
It's like nobody cares.
We're not going to go to commercial, but we're going to go on board with the Toyota.
Yeah. And the full screen transitions that piss me off to next level, and also the lack of intervals on the ticker all day. Oh my god.
Intervals
complaining about for a year.
Aren't crazy important on a super speedway though.
I didn't know if Travis Pastrana was on the lead lap the entire day.
Yeah, but you could
at least show that.
Hey.
No, I do agree with. I'd actually agree with that.
I shouldn't have to. It's on the TV.
I know,
you show it every other week.
I'm just saying.
The only week where intervals show who's in the lead draft or not, and you don't show them.
Yeah, and I also think, because say we have pit stops, having the intervals for the groups of packs would be nice, which doesn't happen all the time, but it is a thing. And it happened, I think, in some of the duels, and they didn't have intervals up, and I was like, who's actually doing anything right now?
Yeah, I understand.
I understand why they show the manufacturer decals most of the time, because that's a huge deal at plate races. But there is such an easy fix to show both of them at the same time. I'm going to go on my little tangent with Supercross again. Supercross has 7 different manufacturers, and every single one of them has a different colored triangle next to the rider's number. Just do a red one for Toyota, a yellow one for Chevy, blue one for Ford. Problem solved. Then you don't have to show manufacturer logos the whole time. Then you can actually show useful information.
I agree with that.
I would take that any day over literally losing information.
Manufacturer
It's just frustrating.
Manufacturer branding is probably important though, and having
I know,
the
but
actual logo
I'm
there. I understand.
I know
Again,
it's the logistic thing, but I'm
I know.
so goddamn sick of money.
My
God.
As someone that works very hard on their graphics to not make them look like garbage, even though they most of the time still look like garbage, these teams and these manufacturers, they pay so much to be part of the sport, and it's not like obviously Toyota pays all this money to be like featured segments during the broadcast, and that's great and all. It's just I don't know. Lack of intervals though. I understand that. Yeah. The international feed, that if you wanna, you can sail the high seas overseas to get, that was a really hot commodity apparently this weekend, from what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I saw quite a few people watching, like, not the main Fox stream, but outside of there.
That people have brought up the argument, well, why can't NASCAR just have a subscription service? Because that's, TV partners probably don't want that.
Yeah.
A big turnoff for them.
Yeah. It's just frustrating. It's like, oh my god, like Fox is owned by, or I should say Fox Sports is owned by companies with just like insane amounts of money, and it's like, we still need to make our money back.
There was one point too in the race where we went to commercial, and it was a long commercial, and we came back for commercial, probably not even a whole lap. And as they were cutting away to commercial, that one wreck happened. I mean, we were back from commercial for probably half a lap before they cut back to commercial while the wreck was happening.
That was that
and
first
we watched
wreck.
it on side by side.
And then,
oh my god, I could
then
not
took
believe
like
it.
2 minutes to get back, and then when they finally came back, it took like another 5 until we finally saw a replay. Like, it was insane.
So, if they've thrown you to commercial and there's a caution, it doesn't make any sense for them logistically to try to cut back in right away, because the wreck's already happened. I know that's, again, frustrating to watch, but from like their side, it's like, okay, that gives us an extra minute and a half. Okay, what's our game plan to cover this? We're gonna go clip A, clip B, clip C, bam, bam, bam. I know they didn't really do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say they weren't even ready to that.
The logistics behind it, at least that's how I would do it. But what do I know?
It pisses me off to no end to constantly be interrupted with commercials to be like, watch NASCAR, and I'm like, I'm trying. You won't let me. Just show me the race, please.
Not gonna lie, that is the most frustrating argument that I hear people have, but I understand it.
Oh god, it just drives me up the wall. I just want to watch the race. I feel like I'm becoming a boomer.
It would be better if they I think if the ads, like the NASCAR ads, were targeted like, okay, I'm in Michigan. Hey, NASCAR's coming to Michigan in August.
Yeah,
get your tickets.
Like a specific race, but it's just NASCAR in general.
I am NASCAR.
God.
Good campaign. Bad utilization.
Yeah.
Anyways, without talking, you brought up that wreck towards the end of, I think, stage 2, with Reddick. Blaney was also damaged pretty heavily in that. Somehow still got a top 10. Chase Elliott, Eric Jones. I saw people saying Eric Jones didn't hold the brake. Whoops.
That's another Fox thing. All of their audio on like half of the replays were off by like 5 seconds.
It was that like forehead cam that they had.
Yeah. It's like that. I don't think that camera has audio potentially, and maybe they're trying to sync it with the roof audio.
Yeah.
Roof cam audio, but it just wasn't working.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what my guess is at that. I don't know.
That camera's cool.
Camera's
It
cool.
is, yeah.
People didn't like the blur of the dash.
Why do people not like that? Who cares? Who cares?
Because it takes up too much to the screen, Davey.
It was annoying when it was like bleeding onto, the view out of the windshield, but they fixed it by the time the 500 rolled around. So like, who cared? So
I thought it was fine. I like if there's an information that the teams want to keep proprietary, then by all means keep that information. I'm not making or paying big bucks to like get that information to where it's mine. So why am I complaining about not being able to see it?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yep. But big wreck there, takes out Reddick. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit happy when Chase Elliott was out. Also saw
Same.
a couple big empty groups of seats suddenly get empty after chase
Yep.
wrecks, so that was funny. So I can't imagine paying $250 to go to a race and then just leaving.
Yeah.
Especially that race.
No, you're gonna suffer through that. You're gonna put up with it.
No.
No. A lot of the pushes, they were really hard, right? I think that goes back to the rigidity of these cars a little bit.
Yeah, and you say this too in the show sheet. It really was hard to get lines moving, and it's something that is becoming more and more common with our super speedway racing with this car, where we're running, especially at Daytona and Atlanta, we're running the bottom two lines, and they're just stuck. Like no one's making any movement. You can kind of tandem for like 2-3 seconds, and then like the bumpers don't line up, so you get all squiggly and wobbly, which that's a whole other thing.
Unless you're the Roush cars.
Unless you're the Roush cars, but again, that's like a whole other thing. But this is something that I heard. I've consumed my Dirty Mo Media content this week. A bunch of it already. It's something that everyone's talking about. Denny Dale, Steve Letarte, all the Door Clear guys. They're all talking about how weird it is that these cars, like the runs aren't predictable when you get them. Like you used to kind of be able to tell, like, okay, those guys got locked up. They're together. We're gonna start getting some movement. There's none of that. Like there's no rhyme or reason yet to like which lane is moving, who's getting the run, like how is this, like how are these guys gonna get ahead of these guys? Like I can't, like I tried to work it out the whole 500. I cannot figure it out yet. Like I really worked hard trying to see, like, I'm trying to like understand it, but it doesn't make sense. Like there's something with the way these cars punch through the air and the air that it leaves behind. The momentum isn't as linear as it was with the other cars.
Well, even like 10 years ago, if we would have had this type of content, I wonder what it would sound like talking about the Gen 6. Because the first couple Super Speedway races with the Gen 6 were not good.
I would go ahead and say up until, and I know this caused a lot more calamity, and I don't like that part, but up until they like beefed up the spoilers on the back of the Gen 6 cars at super speedways and tried to really, really slow them down, I thought the Gen 6 super speedway racing was terrible.
Yeah,
it was so hard to pass the leader. It was impossible.
2015 to 2017, the plate races were just abysmal.
Awful. Like it was, you could not pass the leader. You couldn't get the run. Air bubbles.
It's kind of the problem the Xfinity series seems to have now, plate races. So
Xfinity plate racing.
We got some other issues to talk about with that
which
one.
We'll get to.
Wow. I don't know if I like it or absolutely despise it, but it's just so weird. It's weirder than the next gen racing.
Yeah. Again, mentioned it there. Felt like the RFK cars when they were hooked up, class of the field.
Yeah, definitely towards the end of the race when they were the two that seemed to be really organized rather than anybody else.
Really liked. I know Kyle and Dylan and Byron, they got around him, but really liked the move that Brad did to not block that outside lane, because I feel like 3 years ago he would have.
Yes.
Just throwing that out there. Because again, it goes back to that unpredictability of the runs. He pulls out, it could completely stall that line, or they could run right through him. They could push him out of the way. So I know probably team owner stuff and sticking with a teammate that helps too to make that decision. But I thought that was really interesting with under 5 laps to go that a driver leading did not throw a block.
There's a few drivers that are making more mature choices in the car. Ricky Stenhouse being one of them, and it ended up winning him the race by not being so aggressive. But I mean, yeah.
It's just weird, right?
It is weird from Brad Keselowski. I mean, it's also the kind of thing that you kind of want to see from him too, if you're a fan of him, or if you're like,
yes.
Like you want to see him make that move. You want to see him like,
at least try.
Yeah.
It felt like he just laid over, and
he didn't. Let me be clear.
It felt like
because he's trying to survive for another day.
Yeah.
At the end, and I think that is the best move you can make at a plate race. That's why people like Dale, like Dale Jr. were so good.
Yeah.
He wouldn't, like, he won a lot of Super Speed races and he was aggressive, but he didn't drive like Logano. He didn't drive like the Keselowski of old. He didn't make those crazy, ridiculous moves. And he still won a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I think it goes back to this package being weird. It's weird. And what's our rule, Davey?
Don't be weird. It's free to not be.
Byron dumps Dylan on the back straightaway on that restart, and then blamed it on the 6, which was hilarious to hear about.
William Byron.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even hear that part.
He told Austin Dillon in the ambulance, "Yeah, the 6 just pushed me right through you." And Austin Dillon's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's Brad Keselowski. Of course he did."
I don't even think Brad was on his bumper. Now I gotta look.
He
this up.
wasn't.
Yeah, hang on.
I
mean, it was one of the. I felt like it was just like a bad bump. Like we saw it, multiple times.
Hendrick drivers got to stop causing all the wrecks in these super speedway races. I swear, man. They just do it every year, and it goes under the radar. But it's a Hendrick driver every damn year that causes a wreck.
Larson at the end there.
Larson at the end. Chase Elliott, 9 super speedway races out of 10. Like,
wait, did Larson start one this year?
That last one I kind of attributed to him, if I'm being honest with you. Because him pulling out and making that move just killed the.
I was like, he got
field.
Right reared. I was like, did we watch the same? Okay,
it was more about the energy. It wasn't necessarily about him.
Yeah.
It wasn't the traditional. But like when we go back to causation of these incidents, that's like, you know what I mean.
Oh my god. Okay,
the other cause is, Eric Almirola being like, "Hey, I'm gonna try to bump Travis Pastrana, who has never run this car before Thursday." In a racing scenario, I'm just gonna give him a bump in the middle of the corner because it's the last lap.
Glad to see NASCAR's YouTube channel still starts their videos mid-wreck. I've been complaining about this since 2015, and they still haven't fixed it. Okay, cool. I can't even see what's happening.
It's just like you're watching on Fox, then.
True, well, yeah.
Anyway, that all kind of came to fruition with the interesting choice of Kyle and Austin choosing opposite lanes. Listen, here's the deal, right? And I thought this, and I'm gonna say that other people said, like Dorval McClure said the same thing that I thought. If you're gonna choose to be in 2 separate lanes, you have to try and control both those lanes. You can't try and drop in front of someone, because with the choose cone now, if you try to drop in front of someone, what that means is one line is going to be better than another line, which means one line is going to always suffer, and it's always going to be probably the line that you move into that is suffering, because you're probably going to, if you're succeeding, if you are moving forward, 9 times out of 10, there's a guy on your ass. So the guy in the suffering line is not going to move up with you. You're going to move down to the suffering line. And it backfired so quickly, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, because when it first happened, I was like, I don't understand why you wouldn't just both line up. And then, because I'm rewatching it right now, like I understood after they got lined up what the plan was, is it got Kyle Busch clear of both lines, and I was like, okay, cool. But then there was all that momentum from the outside, and he got too far out front, and they just got sucked right back into it. And it was like, okay, so it didn't work. It worked, and then it didn't.
Yeah, because for him to have the momentum, he needs to have the momentum. The line behind him has the same momentum.
Yeah, and
it's the same draft.
Him moving down, backed Joey Logano up to the cars behind him, and then just pushed him right past him. And it was like, okay, well, that backfired horrendously.
Yeah, I saw that coming from a million miles away. I was wondering if they were going to try and control both lines, and then once they were up to speed, maybe hook up. That's what my guess was, but that did not happen. It went worse.
I don't know why, if you're Richard Childress, why you don't tell him, hey, take the 2 separate lines and one of you win.
Mm-hmm.
One of you win the race.
Yep.
It just it made no sense.
We got another one of those to talk about too for Xfinity.
Yeah, but that was a completely different level of ineptitude.
Yeah. Also, before we move off the segment, I saw a really good tweet that I need to point out, where they were talking about how that whole wreck and that debacle only happened because Suarez spun out, and then they said Mexico never forgets Kyle. So
you know how frustrating that is, that they threw the yellow there too, because they didn't throw it because there'd been a couple times over the course of the weekend that a car spun and they didn't throw a caution. And I know safety, and I beat that drum to death, but inconsistency.
Here's the thing I'll give them on that. And this is something that This is something that I kind of learned. Yeah, like that. This is something that Joe was making hand motions. This is something that I learned, like when I actually flagged a race. Is there's always there's always someone coming, and if you're focused on one part of the track, you don't like you would be if you're watching the TV broadcast. You don't know who else is coming. You don't know who. Like you don't actually know if he's in danger or not, because if someone's coming, that's a fine caution. But if that's like lap 3 and the field is totally grouped together, that shouldn't be a caution.
True.
So I see both sides of that. I really do.
Yeah, I initially thought they threw it when he got stuck in the grass, but I'm rewatching it now, and the caution lights are on, but like while he's saving it. So.
The caution lights were almost on before he even started spinning.
Yeah,
now I can't defend that.
It's like right as the car points back around
Uh-huh.
for the first time, and he goes into that kind of 4-wheel power slide. You can see the light on the exit of turn 4 is on, so they were very quick on the trigger with it.
So, I mean, I almost wonder if there's maybe debris somewhere, and then, attention just got diverted to the car spinning. Because watching it in real time, again, I thought the graphic went yellow before he was even out of line. But conspiracy theory,
He also had a flat right rear, and nobody mentioned that, and everybody was like, "Oh, he just spun out on his own." And I was like, I mean, you can see the tire carcass shredding off the car as he's spinning. So, like,
come on, Daniel
I think
Suarez,
that's probably
get better.
Yeah,
Gosh,
I think that's
one
probably
win?
why they threw the yellow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna argue. Like, I guess I tried to, but probably shouldn't argue.
It's just worst case scenario. Like,
Eric Almirola bumps Travis Pastrana in the corner, gets Ricky Stenhouse the win. Looked like Logano was probably going to win there if they run it out, because he was going to get to the lead down the back straightaway, and I feel like it's hard to make a move in half a lap. So I guess it saved us from that, but also saw a lot of and heard a lot of it's the last lap argument, and I feel like we have talked about. I recall, and again there is some bias, but with the 2021 finish, talking about the last lap isn't an excuse for doing something reckless.
It is not.
Also, need to point out, as upset as I was, it's not like it was the most egregious thing I've ever seen. It was just something we had seen all day, where it's like everybody was getting squirrely with bumps, and tried to push Travis Pastrana, who doesn't have a lot of experience doing this, and spun him out.
Yeah, I would like. Most race car drivers have that tabulated in their head. Who can take those bumps? Like, who have they worked with? Who do they know can handle it? And I would expect someone with the experience of Eric Almirola to see the yellow stripes on the rear bumper and be aware of his situation and the drivers around him enough to know that he's hitting him in the middle of the corner in these cars with as little side forces these cars make, and with the tiny sidewalls and the way these cars gets turned around as quick as they do, to not do that. It is not impossible. It is not it's not a stretch to say that Eric Almirola knew better. And it is, we have an Eric Almirola fan in the wings, who
he knows who it's our good buddy
who will defend to the death Eric Almirola. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do it on this one. I don't care what he says.
Doesn't have a mic here anyways.
You just got to know better. You just got to know better.
Yeah.
Like Joe, like your first race back, I'm not bumping you in the middle of the corner.
Oh yeah.
On Friday,
I wasn't bumping you in the middle of the corner either, because I knew it was my first race back. You were yelling at me for it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And I was gonna mention, like, every time we do one of these plate races, and I'm like leading a line late, and somebody gets me out of shape, and I'm just like, "Don't stop! I can handle it. Do not lift."
But yeah, I get it. It's the last lap of the Daytona 500. You want to win. You're not winning from 10th, bumping somebody in the middle of the corner.
Yeah.
And he was also getting hit from behind and stuff. And but you can be the driver that stops the buck.
Yeah. Most of my frustration stems from the fact that I'm sick of seeing these end under caution.
Yeah, same.
Sick of it. Unbelievably sick of it.
We didn't get a single green flag finish this week.
Fire truck just went by outside. I'm very concerned. I didn't hear.
Are you on fire?
Interesting. I hope not. Bristol, are we on fire?
Huh.
Interesting. Again, first female and first African American owner to win the Daytona 500 in Jody Geschechter and Brad Doherty, part of JTG Doherty Racing. So that's awesome. Again, it's a small team, but they do have decent funding, so I think this win is really big for them in terms of their funding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we saw. I don't know how many times you guys have stopped at a Love's since 2021. But they were very proud of that Daytona 500. Hopefully Kroger does something similar.
They had who was the damn I'm stupid. Truck drivers all blend together for me. Who's the
Zane
truck
Smith.
driver who they had Zane Smith stuff at my Loves
Yep.
for a long time alongside it.
Yep.
It was awesome. That's really cool. I love that.
So
I love that. Also, one more thing, by the way, before we kind of move on from from the Daytona 500, because there's a lot of QR codes and stuff on the broadcast for the Daytona 500. If you are a racing fan and you want companies and businesses to see value in racing, all those QR codes are attached to, some form of data collector that shows how many times it's scanned, how many people interact with it, blah, 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 this, that, the other thing. Scan the damn codes. If you see a QR code at a racetrack or on a TV broadcast or on a race car, scan the code. Scan the code, scan the code, scan the code. That's if you want to support businesses, attaching themselves to motorsports, which you should, scan the codes. Doesn't matter if you use it or not.
No, but
it doesn't matter if you hate Wendy's. I don't care what you think about Wendy's. Scan the damn code. If you hate Noah Gragson, scan the code.
I don't hate Noah Gragson. You don't hate Noah
Scan the
Gragson
codes.
anymore, do you?
It's weird with him.
Yeah, okay, that's why I thought.
I want to like him, but I really don't
weird.
want to.
But he's weird.
I just like race cars.
What's our one cardinal rule?
Don't be weird, but by scanning the QR codes, you are not being weird.
No.
You're being the opposite of weird. You're being really cool and showing these businesses that you support these businesses, giving money to people who do stuff with race cars, and that's cool.
The Wendy's one. Did you guys scan the Wendy's one?
Yes.
No.
So it just took you to like a prize wheel, and you'd spin it, and I spun it, and I'm like, oh, cool! I won like, I don't know, a burger every week for the rest of the year. And then you hit, okay, yeah, I'll accept that prize. And it's like, all right, enter all your information for a chance to win. And I'm like, what? I was so sad.
Listen,
I was like,
I never said
I had a meal.
Never said it was all perfect.
No, I know. I thought it was funny because like the way it was like, oh look. But I also I did it like 3 or 4 more times to do all the different entries. So hey.
Yes. Speaking of QR codes, here's my old number plate. Scan this QR code. So.
Oh, hold on. Let me scan the QR code. Hold
okay,
on.
here we go.
Gotta support racing.
Yeah, support my race team.
Time to support racing.
Please let it work.
It's not working.
Damn it.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh. What is this supposed to be?
Oh, no, you moved it.
Did it work?
No. It didn't.
Hold on.
Hold it again. Let's try this one more time.
It's so blurry on my end. My internet's been crap. That's not helping.
Hold on. Keep it still.
Anyways, while we're doing that,
I give up.
Takeaways for the Daytona 500. I think we've kind of covered them. I don't know. I wanted to come on here and be like, oh, the crowd goes mild, ha ha ha, funny, but I don't know.
Why is it taking a picture?
I'm so underwhelmed this year by the Daytona 500.
Sick of these things ending under caution, mainly. Would be really cool to see him race to the checker.
Do you guys want to see what the QR code goes to?
Is it appropriate?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, stop that before we get demonetized. Even though we're not even monetized here.
It rickrolls you. Oh, Davey's gonna quit the podcast.
When do you think? When do you think Make-A-Wish tells us that we've granted Matt's wish?
That's a little unfair.
All his childish tactics.
Yeah.
But what was your takeaway from the 500, Matt?
I enjoyed it. I've seen a couple of people, including my dad, complain about how like the first 170 laps nothing happens, and I'm like, that's stage racing for you. So it is what it is. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was a little bummed that it ended under caution, but at least it wasn't all that for a Logano win. So I'll take it.
Davey.
This race was honestly just the cherry on top of me paying for all of the good things that happened to my drivers in the off season. So like personally, I didn't really enjoy it. It was just like it was the final little chef's kiss of disaster class weekend for drivers that I enjoy. But I thought the race was okay. The show was it was all right, I guess. Glad Logano didn't win. Crowd looked great. Loved that. Loved that the crowd looked awesome. The infield was blown up. The grandstands were blown up. I mean, everyone that could be there was there. That was really cool. Hopefully we can show up next year with a slightly different speed week schedule and get the ball rolling a little bit better and make it feel like something again, because I something was just a little bit missing this year for me.
Yeah, I think I echo that. I don't know, but it didn't help that I didn't get to watch the Xfinity race to get myself primed for it either with the broadcast stuff going on. So didn't help. But speaking of the Xfinity race, Austin Hill wins at Daytona again. Kind of by default, it feels like. JRM takes the proverbial rubber band gun and just into the foot.
I don't understand how they're so bad at plate racing every time we come here.
Here's kind of like
they're not though.
Here's what I think, right? Because like it was a teamwork masterclass to get them second through fifth.
Yep.
Yeah. And you look at everything that all the drivers did, and in a way, like as a driver, they made moves that were not too dumb, but as a team, the teamwork was so bad at the end that it the fact that they were lined up that way, and the fact that so like they did make a move on their own teammates and they did start racing behind Austin Hill, like it just looked so bad and it backfired so hard and so quickly. I think it makes it look a lot worse than it actually was. Even though I'll agree with most of you, there's probably no reason a JRM car should not have won that race.
Well, that's the thing, is like when you look at Junior in his prime, like the thing that he and Michael Waltrip were so good at is they stayed teamed up no matter what, and nobody else could handle that. And it's like, that's your car owner, and you have 4 of your cars all running up front. How can they never figure out how to work together at the end of these races? It doesn't make any sense, especially when Junior's the guy on the headset, you know? It's so weird.
And they just waited way too long. And then what? I think Barry's the one that makes the first move, and because he's probably getting, because I think TJ Majors is his spotter now, right? I think so.
I don't know that.
I think so. And he's probably getting told by a spotter that has a lot of experience calling good super speedway racers, by the way. Has a lot of experience with that. Tells him, hey, okay, we gotta go. This teammate crap, throw it out the window. We gotta go. And then Brandon Jones is like, all right, I'm gonna block my teammate. And then big wreck, or not big wreck, but then it sets off the end of that race. That was just weird.
Yeah. You know, I don't know, man, because I always find it really hard to fault drivers who, at the end of the day, like, yes, the team is like important, but they want to go and win. It's hard for me to fault drivers for that.
Well,
I have a hard time doing it.
I'm not faulting. I don't want to do that either, because
yeah.
Now, Joey Logano's block on Brad Keselowski in the 2021 Daytona 500, that one was different.
That was asinine.
That was dumb. That was the dumbest thing I've ever... Anyways, not to go... I'm still upset.
I can tell.
You couldn't tell.
We weren't even talking about NASCAR. He just brings up Joey Logano in 2021. I don't know, it's weird.
Joey Logano just is in my nightmares. But it doesn't make sense to just sit there like that. You have 4 cars, you can get around the one car whenever you want.
Yeah.
And pretty much seal the deal for your team to win. Now, I know, like, you don't, like, you want to win, but if you get yourselves in the top 4 spots, hey, guess what? You 4 are probably going to be one of the 4 winners.
Yeah. I think they probably could have gotten 1 through 4 very quickly. Once everyone was kind of lined up on the top, they probably could have very quickly disposed of Austin Hill. And then around the same time that they actually did end up making a move on Austin Hill, that's when they probably could have started racing each other. You know, and that would like it would at least make a lot more sense that way, instead of they sat behind the 21 and they started racing each other just to stay behind the 21 the whole time.
I'm just so damn sick of these guys waiting so long to make a move. It's so frustrating because it never works. It's just like, I would so much rather make my move too early and get past late than sit in third the whole time and then be like, oh man, we ran out of time, late caution. Like, it's so frustrating.
That's why, and there was a little bit of handbags with Parker Kligerman at the end with Jeffrey Earnhardt. But like, that's why I really was not mad at the way Parker Kligerman was being aggressive, trying to get moves on the bottom moving with 15 to go, 10 to go, in the amount of time that it would take to get a bottom lane moving,
Yeah.
reasonably. So it was tough that was the toughest part of the race to watch, really. The first 2 stages of that race were unbelievable. The first stage of that race was, I had no idea what the hell was going on. Like, why were they racing that hard? It was ridiculous.
It was.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
But we get to the final stage and everyone wants to like
What's around on the highlight.
This Dale Earnhardt Sr. like tall tale has infected NASCAR racing for decades now, where you can't wait, you gotta make the move to the last lap, you gotta get the slingshot, baby. Like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
The one time in hundreds of plate races when somebody went from like 18th to first in a few laps, and they were like, I can do that for sure.
Yeah, no. So like, I'm not even that huge on Dale Earnhart, but that's Dale Earnhart at Talladega.
It's literally
what do you want?
A once in a lifetime type of thing. Yeah. It's so absurd.
And it has infected super speedway racing to this day.
Yeah.
Can we fix the Xfinity package?
What's wrong with it?
Ever since they've gone to these composite bodies, and I can't explain it. I don't know how these bodies are different. I know material why they're different, but I don't know.
The thing is, I don't know what's wrong with it. What's wrong with the package?
It's the whole. So, do you remember the first year where they were like, yeah, so it just makes more sense for us to just run up next to the wall aerodynamically.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they do it. Because you have, smart guy engineer. Ain't that smart. Take it from just personal experience and also internal experience. Tell it, okay, well, this is the most optimal way to run this car aerodynamically. You should run this line. That's great. Guess what? The car running optimally doesn't win you the race.
The only thing I can think of is they have the like super narrow and low rear spoilers on them now. I don't know how that would affect it because I'm obviously not an aerodynamicist, but I don't know.
Affects the runs maybe, right? Like, you're not punching as big of a hole in the air.
Because I remember it was whatever year Austin Cindric won here, like nobody could get to him when they were doubled up. It was like what we were talking about the Gen 6 plate races earlier. I don't know if that's been necessarily the case the last couple of races, but like, I don't know. So,
yeah. I also still think we need to get rid of the tandem rule, but
well, yeah, that is... if you get rid of the tandem rule, you fix it, right? Like,
yeah,
it would be awesome.
Don't you remember when those tandem races were really good, and then Carr went in the catch fence, so he said, "Oh, we can't do that anymore." And then cars still go in the catch fence because it's racing, and that's what happens.
I really enjoy it because I feel like the Xfinity cars put on a good hybrid tandem pack racing kind of thing naturally. So I'm very sad that they don't. The weird tandem roll thing is still a thing.
Yeah, it's just frustrating that they're like, we couldn't fix this problem that we want to get rid of, so we just legislated it out of existence and made it extremely gray on when we're going to penalize you and when we're not. That's so weird.
But guys, Kyle Busch's head moved really far.
I am not a doctor. I will not comment on this.
Correct. Exactly. Anyway, the Xfinity race was really fun in person, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of people there. It was a madhouse.
Yeah, they said it was the best attendance for that race since I think Daytona Rising opened or whatever.
It was a madhouse. It was awesome. I loved it. A lot of cool activation in the midway. Loved that. We love to see that. I got my lunch that day was free McDonald's fries that I scammed 2 fries out of because I went back later and got more. And they had like the Idahoan whatever. How do you pronounce
Potato.
Idaho? Yeah, the mashed potato stuff. Got some mashed potatoes.
I ate
It's
a lot of
pretty
potatoes.
good. That was my lunch. Free
Potatoes.
lunch.
You didn't go to the Wendy's thing?
There wasn't a Wendy's thing that I saw.
Oh, it
At
must
least
have been
not
in
on
the
Saturday.
infield.
It
I
probably
think it
wasn't in
might-
the infield.
Do you have to pay to get into that? Is that like separate or is that included?
The infield is a separate.
It's a
ticket.
separate fan plaza, UNO, whatever.
It's a different ticket thing. Yeah.
Well,
You'd go into the UNOH fan zone.
what if you just walk through?
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
They check your ticket. There's like a gate for it, right? They check your ticket at the gate. There's only one way into the fan zone. The fan zone's like connected to the garages and stuff.
Right.
But every other entrance into that area is like a garage entrance, so it's guarded by
A guard.
NASCAR staff.
Right. Okay.
So there's no getting through there without a hot pass.
So this is for anyone out there. This is the best advice, and I had at work. We got into the garage somehow. Walk like you belong, and nobody will question you. It's great.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that
100%.
one guy. I saw that guy. Just walked in and watched his driver win a Daytona. That's ridiculous.
I
We
wish it could
we
be
should
me.
actually talk about the finish, by the way.
Oh, Sam
Oh.
Mayer.
flipped.
Yeah.
Sam Mayer
Okay.
flipped pretty spectacularly, and then we had a whole thing with 3 cars
I
sitting on
was-
the front stretch waiting for which one of them was going to be the winner.
Here's the deal. You guys can. I lived it. I wanted to go home. Parker Kligerman got wrecked.
Well,
I
no,
wanted to
no,
leave.
No, Davey, he swerved out of the way to avoid hitting Sam Mayer in such a kind gesture.
I don't care if he blew through his ass. I wanted to go home.
I just
don't
thought that
care.
one was funny. How courageous of a race car driver to have some care for another human's life. How courageous.
Is that a NASCAR Twitter take? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. Which
Can I tell you
yes,
how nice it is
Congrats.
not having opinions on literally everything that happens in a race?
Isn't it
It's,
great?
it's a so much more fun way of watching racing.
what do
It
you
really
mean
is.
you weren't live tweeting about how you hated the commercials while the racing was on? Hence making it so you just watched commercials in your phone?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dang.
It's like when you were mentioning, you're like, "What do you think about Noah Gragson earlier?" I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to watch race cars. I'm sick of having opinions on everything. Oh my
Yep.
God.
Yep. Same.
Yeah, but that was just that took too. I got done with my first broadcast and I was like, oh, they're parked on the front stretch. This is weird. And then Austin Hill is one, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. All right, off.
Cool.
Can't watch the
I was like,
highlights.
the only reason I didn't leave before they called the winner is because Joey was there, and I was like, I just want to leave, and Joey's like, didn't say anything because it's Joey, and
He
just
doesn't-
does
he
weird
just
things.
doesn't
He
talk.
just didn't say. He was just like, he just kind of laughed and looked at me, and then like he was like looking over at the car sitting on the front stretch. I'm like, I want to go home.
Where were you guys sitting? I didn't see any
Right,
pictures.
kind of like right before pit road.
Were you like?
It's where-
But what tier were you like up? You were in the bottom tier though, right?
Bottom of the second level.
Okay, so you're pretty.
We're pretty close.
Well, yeah, but pretty good up though too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're like
We
good in between.
can see a lot of the front stretch and all of turns 3 and 4, but we're also still pretty close.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Good seats.
Heck yeah. So meet up in August, right? Is that the
I'm
plan?
down. Let's
All right. Because that'll definitely be a lot cheaper. Zane Smith won a rain shortened truck race that they went back out on the track after it was raining and it was raining harder or something. And
Here's another race I did not care about. This thing, all the rain and the stop.
the racing was good though.
Yeah, it was fun when there was racing happening, but yeah.
Stage
Unfortunately,
breaks
a lot
after
of
20 laps are weird.
wasn't a lot of racing happening. So
No. You had a. I'm trying to think of like what happened. There was the wreck with Clay Greenfield. took out Haley, and who else did he take out? Somebody else. And then the second one where Stuart Friesen tried to throw a really bad block, and then wiped out himself and a bunch of other people, as he does. And that was about it.
He had a cool truck though.
Yeah, I did like the paint scheme. So
Good cause.
Mm.
I
wish there was more to say about the truck race, but like,
I wish, I thought that was a pretty competent truck race too.
Yeah.
Like all things considered.
Seen it proved.
Which, to be fair, we also didn't get to the end of the race when the stupid usually happens.
That's true.
But for what we saw, for the most part, it was
But
pretty
usually
good.
the truck races are littered with stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're starting to get that arc of stink,
It helps that there's a decent amount of guys up like in the truck series who have been there for a while, who know what they're doing. It's not just like a bunch of 19-year-olds. So
yeah, truck series was that for, I mean, it still is. But it was really that for a hot minute.
Yeah. Yeah. It was all right. I don't know. I enjoyed it while it was actually going, but that was about it.
So, all right. So truck race Friday night. I wrote on our show sheet that we raced Thursday night. We didn't. We raced Friday night.
It was Friday. I was gonna change it, but we raced Friday night
Close
in
enough.
the USORL
Congrats
ARCA series.
to Mr. Davey Hazard on his big win, kicking off the season.
Woo! I had a lot of fun. Congratulations. It was nice.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny. I do wish I could have. I do wish I could have figured that out. I would have been like, "Hey, I'm the guy that."
Yeah.
The guy that. Yeah.
That was weird.
Sorry about that.
I'm
You
mad
want a
we
picture?
I'm mad we couldn't end that in a photo finish because I messed up coming to the white flag and got into your door. I think it was off of 4, which kind of killed my momentum. But we were setting up for a
we
friggin...
did end in a photo finish.
No, I mean between Davey and I, because we were side by side for like the last 5 laps. We were setting up for a fake racers podcast 1, 2, 3, and then I blew it at the end. I still got 4th, and we got a JTN 1, 2, 3, 4. But
we did do that.
Big shouts to Weaver for the awesome pushes and like. So Davey, I want to let you in on a little secret.
Okay.
You know how you yelled at me to push you?
Yes.
I didn't want to start pushing you till like down the backstretch coming to the white flag because I didn't want to push you clear to where I had to make a move before. And I know we just talked about you waiting to make a move.
God.
But in NR, you can't make the if you're up there. And I don't trust those guys behind me because I've never raced with them and I've only watched them race. And let me tell you, sometimes I watch them race and they're knuckleheads. I didn't want to start pushing you till like we were at least closer to the white flag because if I wrecked you, I would have felt really bad. Because then I would have had to restart, and then I'd be like, oh man, now I gotta park it. But also, I didn't want to push you because I didn't want you to get out ahead of Matt until I knew I'd have a good enough run to get out ahead of Matt, too.
Yeah.
I
don't care. I won the damn thing.
I know.
I don't care.
I liked it, too, because like I got that run on you coming off of what? Coming off of 4?
Yeah.
I really should. I saved the replay, so I totally could like put video in here, but I won't.
Gotta admit, I was not expecting Weaver to stick all the way with you and leave me totally out. I really figured he was gonna jump down, and that's why I didn't block as hard.
So, I think the only reason. So he was telling me that because I feel like I should have. If I would have made the move, I might have had a chance to win. I mean, I guess I still had a chance to win, right? But, he said that he wouldn't have been clear of Matt if I made the move like any sooner. So it's like
because I was still like,
you
on
were
the
still
quarter
there
panel at the end. Yeah.
So I don't know, but then Matt got a pretty good run, so I don't know if that was because of getting the suck off of Weaver's car too or whatever. But
it might. I think it was a little bit of that, and Steven was just laying into my bumper off of 4. So.
Yeah. But I had fun, and now I got the racing bug itch again, and.
Yeah. Dude, that was my first win at Daytona in such a long time. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's cool.
I
put myself in a position there.
I was like 16th when that caution came out, and I just drove through the wreck.
Oh yeah, dude. I know you're not gonna put the video in, but I have it saved somewhere. My wreck avoidance of that last one was insane, and I was like, "There is no way I just did that, and I'm gonna be P2 on this restart."
I might make this like a separate video when I actually have time to edit it. So look on the main JTN channel, and we'll incorporate some video there. But for the full podcast, not gonna have time because, and also I don't think people listening would really care to all of a sudden have random clips of the race in there. But so yeah, that was fun. You can check out the USORL at USORL_racing on Twitter, USORL.weebly.com. They got a lot of great stuff. Good league, cool guys. Just don't be bad, because if you're bad, they don't like you. They don't like you if you're bad, so you gotta be good. Right, Matt?
That's a pretty
Mr. League owner.
Disagree with that. So
Mr. League owner. Let's sum it up.
The opinions and stances of members of the USRL do not reflect all of the administration.
We're going west.
I had one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
That was like a complete like silly thing. But because there are a lot of guys in there willing to help and stuff. It's just don't run Cup Series with little experience, because you never should run a League's Cup Series with little experience.
Yeah,
I learned that the hard way. Like Davey said, we're going west. Go west, young man. We're going to Auto Club for the final time on this 2-mile configuration. Could be the final time ever. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if they just sell the land. I'm waiting for that announcement, because that'll be funny. Let me tell you, that'll be funny. We're all upset over that, right? Like,
can you tell which one of us here wants a second Michigan race?
No, I don't think they give a second. They don't take Auto Club and give it to Michigan. Now you got me hopeful, man. Xfinity race is pretty star-studded if you like RCR drivers from 2022, because Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick are both going to be in it.
Oh yeah, I should bring up the entry lists.
Not that I'm having a hard time keeping track of picks. I really should do this. I don't even think, did we make 500 picks?
Pretty sure we did. I honestly can't remember who I picked.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at our results on Dewey's spreadsheet. So just make sure you put your picks in there.
Well, I put Travis Pastrana as my pick in there, so I might have to go back and look at the podcast.
But Xfinity race have to think that Cole Custer's probably Cole Custer is the favorite to win. He's like plus 500.
Yeah,
which is really low.
He is sort of good there.
Tyler Reddick's up there too. I think Austin Dillon's a little bit deeper. Colleagues in a weird transition spot, it feels like, with their Xfinity program right now. Sorry.
Program.
Who you guys got?
Oh man. God.
I'm looking right now. Who do I want?
Ross Chastain.
Oh yeah, he's in the field.
Oh, okay.
DGM 91.
Oh, I forgot John Hunter's running the full Xfinity season.
You know what? No. Parker Kligerman.
There you go.
There you go. Stick with you, boy.
We're doing Parker Kligerman all year.
If we're sure, I'll go Josh Berry. I'm going with my boy. So
I'm gonna take Riley Herbst because I like funny.
One of the elusive few to finish in top 10 in his series debut in all three series.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's an actual stat.
Yes, that is an actual stat.
That is crazy.
I saw that stat
Put
today.
that alongside all of his other accomplishments. I'm sure Riley Herbst is a very nice guy. This is just a funny bit.
It's funny because top tier equipment and no wins.
Yikes.
Does he not win a truck race?
Nope. Not that I know of. I think he's only won like 1 or 2 ARCA races too when he was driving the Gibbs car with Ty.
Oh, yikes. Yeah.
Yikes. It's I'm so sorry.
He's got good car control though. He doesn't cause a lot of wrecks.
I give him that.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm just gonna be boring and take I said Riley Herbst. That's who I'm taking. That's right. That's where this started. Cup Series, of course, last year was kind of a breakout race for a couple guys. Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez had a really good run in this race. That was kind of when we started to realize Trackhouse might have been for real because Ross was also really quick. Austin Dillon had a good finish in this race. This was also the genesis of the Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott little button heads. So hope for a repeat of that. But who you guys got?
And this is not me being a Ryan Preece fan, I legitimately have Ryan Preece.
Dude, he was fast in Daytona too.
Stuart Haas ran really well at Auto Club last year.
Oh, yeah,
Briscoe was
Briscoe.
really good.
Briscoe was
had
really
speed
good.
at
Briscoe
times.
actually finished, I think, the worst out of all the Stuart Haas cars, though.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
a mechanical issue.
Yeah,
I thought they had just like a botched pit strategy at the
Yeah.
end of it too.
Oh,
or
maybe.
something like that.
because I think the other three. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, Eric finished
Yeah,
top
racing
10 because he
reference.
was like on a top 10 streak to start the year.
Eric and Kevin finished top 10. I don't think
Yeah.
Cole Custer was too far behind. Cole
remember
Custer was
Custer-
11th.
Yeah,
He's
he
11th.
ran really well that day, and I remember
Well, Custer at Auto Club.
yeah, Briscoe led laps early, and then they like gambled on 2 tires or something at the
I
end.
got him
and
set
it
back.
Backfired horrendously.
So that is a legitimate Ryan Preece.
I can
Okay.
see it.
I mean, they're all
I'm-
legitimate.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
gonna
know.
go with Kyle Busch. He's pretty good here.
And the 8 car was the fastest last year where they had mechanical issues.
Yep.
I'm going to take Bubba Wallace
That's not a bad pick either.
because they were fast at Michigan, they were fast at Kansas, and
Yep.
those tracks are comparable to each other, and somehow they're going to be comparable to the Auto Club. And also Tyler Reddick should hopefully help them be better at that track this year.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's it this week. You can follow us at Fake Racers on Twitter, at Johto Network on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We'll post little clips of the show with our face cams for you folks that are listening. You can also get the full show with face cams on our YouTube at JTN2 on YouTube, because YouTube has channel handles now instead of just channel names, which is weird, but okay. Davey and Matt, your guys' socials are in the video below, or description below. And where can they find those? Well, if they're maybe listening or they don't want to click on a couple buttons, what should they search for?
Who's going first here?
Matt
All right. You can find me on Twitter at msealant51.
and Davey.
Twitter, Davey Hazard, Instagram, D7H5. I made an Instagram post about my trip to Daytona. You can see my seats in it. And Twitch D7H5 with an ER in the end if you feel like see me when I eventually stream again. Whatever that is.
He's got a cool setup now too.
The setup
wheel
is
and stuff.
decent.
Very
We're
cool.
still figuring it out, but it's pretty cool.
So, again, folks, watch, listen, rate, subscribe, view, share. What else can they do? Play us
share
on
your
your
friends.
boombox outside your crush's window at night. But we appreciate you so much. Somehow we talked about the Daytona 500 for 40 minutes, and we just crammed the last 30 minutes of everything else. So, cool. Have fun, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, and we'll see you guys next week here on the Fake Racers Podcast.
Goodbye.